wasn't all work down at the school. We often had times to play games. In fact, sometimes some might say that not enough work went on. But, we often had a lot of time to play games, and one of the games that we used to play a lot, thanks to David, was Cards Against Humanity. If you're not familiar with that game, don't look it up. The tagline says it all. It's a card game for horrible people. The thing is, to win Cards Against Humanity, you need to have the knack to come up with jokes that someone would say, oh, that's just in bad taste, because that's usually what gets points. Matthew didn't have that knack, and he struggled with the concept of the game. And yet, the cards that he came up with were often the funniest because they were the most off the wall. We had to explain the concept of the game to him every time we played it, and he asked for it a lot. So that's a memory that's sealed onto my heart. What are we on? Thursday, so there's less than a week left until the end of the month.
Yep.
I just need a few more stories. Matthew often used instruments, and particularly the piano, that he spent a lot of time sitting at and dawdling around on, as an indicator of his mood. We would frequently go out and about, particularly at the last year of sixth form. If we wanted something nice to eat, we'd often leave the school and go across the road to nearby Chippy. And if Matthew was in a good mood, he'd come with us. And if he wasn't in a good mood, he would stay at the piano and play the piece that he played at the piano, and he'd be still playing it when we got back. But for the most part, to be honest, he came with us wherever we went. Other times we'd just stay in school and have whatever it was that the canteen was offering. He'd often come with us. He would sometimes buy something himself. Or he might just stand behind you, and while you were putting your order in, and he said, and I'll have... and he said, don't worry, I'll get the next one. And every time it was just a, no you won't, Matt. We know you won't. He definitely had the potential to be a very cheeky so-and-so. But that's just one of the qualities of Matthew. Maybe I have previously been a little bit unfair in my assessment of how much work got done at the school. It's true we had some free periods and time after school, but a lot of that time was spent learning theory, as I've previously discussed, or learning the case studies that we had to do, or writing compositions. There was one time we went into school it was during the Easter week, and we spent the entire day just on our compositions. He did struggle, as I've mentioned before. He struggled with his memory and he struggled to remember some things, but he worked very hard, and eventually he got his A-levels and he really deserved what he achieved. Well, we've reached the second to last day of walking 500 miles in March for Matthew, and I think we're very nearly 700 miles. I have no more stories that I'm going to share. The rest are my memories and other people's stories. So I've got nothing else to say, other than Matthew was our dear friend, and we will always miss him.